Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Empire. First things first, I do have to apologize. I've been fighting off a cold for the past few days that's really been affecting my voice, so I might sound a little bit hoarse or tired. I promise you I am not a different person, and I'm still going to be here tomorrow and be better. It's all going to be good, but in any case, the show must go on. We're taking a look at Empire today. This is a Dungeon Keeper inspired game, like a dungeon management slash RTS game. That is from Cyanide Studios, so you might know perhaps due to most recent developments, most famously for Blood Bowl perhaps. They also worked on the Game of Thrones games that came out a couple of years ago. So having not played Dungeon Keeper or Blood Bowl or any of those Games of Thrones games, I am of course completely qualified to talk about this. Let's get started. I've got about 2 hours invested in this game so far. And I'm only on the second level, which should tell you something about the difficulty of the game, especially considering I had like an hour primer playing this game when I was at PDXCon in Iceland. Apparently, I'm having some trouble proceeding with my existing campaign here. This is how we're gonna beat today, game? Well, we can go into a new campaign if we really want to, but I don't want to do that. Let's refresh. We're playing offline right now. There is an online component. As we deal with some technical difficulties here, I have to point out I'm not very pleased with my time with Empire so far. Oh, I have to click proceed over there, or I don't know what's going on, but we finally got in any case. But we're gonna be playing offline. But yeah, I haven't been really impressed with my my time with Empire so far, and I wasn't really impressed with it at PDXCon either when we played it there. It's a game that's very slow. I have no doubt that it's going to appeal to some people, but I don't think I or people like me are going to be those people. Anyway, let's just launch the game here. I'll get into my complaints, and I do have praise for this game in certain elements as well, which I'll talk about in a second. I'm not going to worry too much about this mission briefing here. Remember, this is only the second level. This game is very heavy on the tutorials, while at the same time I kind of feel being woefully inadequate in actually preparing me for how to play the game. Anyway, we're going to have some dialogue here, so I'll just let these guys talk.
I'm so excited. I've been up all night. I was great, wasn't I? Yesterday, I mean, the way I guided you through the perils of the Barbarian underworld.
Yeah, the glory is all yours.
Should point out that Ball is voiced by famous comedian John Panette, who you might be familiar with from Seinfeld. He played like the large man who was robbed in the finale, and then the gang didn't try to save him, and then they got thrown in jail for like criminal negligence or something like that.
All this a bad world? Really? How about we go visit the bottomless pit?
And, you know, he's famous in his own right for his stand-up stuff.
You see, I want to be somebody. I want to break free from being a slave to the grind, and in order to do so, one has to give no more than a bat's arse for the well-being of others.
Pearl of wisdom, right here.
I'm gonna skip over the rest of this dialogue because one of the, a strength that I have with the game, or a positive thing I have to say about the game, is the fact that it's well presented. Like, there's a lot of fairly solid voice work and cutscenes and stuff like that. The game doesn't look that fantastic, but it's well presented. The problem I have with that is that they're really, really heavy on exposition and telling you exactly what the fuck is going on at every second, as opposed to actually showing you what's going on, maybe. So a lot of time is spent in cutscenes, and a lot of this episode is probably going to be me talking over this dude, because he is fairly frequently just engaging in verbal diarrhea. Anyway, eventually, we're just going to keep clicking these arrows for now. Apologies if I avoid most of the voice acting. So this is our main interface here. I'm going to exit management mode if I can. Yeah, because, that's causing most of my screen to get taken up. But in any case, our mission here is going to be to eventually get to these rooms to kind of expand our dungeon, and each of these rooms is going to have a benefit. Like, this one is going to allow us to train some units, this one is going to allow us to hold some heroes hostage, and this one, I can't even see what it is right now. I think this is a forge, which is going to allow us to build traps. So the whole game is kind of a mishmash between managing your dungeon, which is going to be raided by heroes, and you're going to need to, you know, create squads to take care of those heroes and put traps to stop them, as well as accomplishing some kind of, like, overall objective, which in this mission, if you didn't hear, is, well, it's not raid, this is an optional objective, I believe, but we're going to put, like, these explosive barrels of rat meat in front of the ventilation ducts to another building. Anyway, so we're playing as the bad guys, is basically what I'm trying to get at here. So we start with 2 workers. First thing we're going to do is have worker 1 come into this mushroom room here and repair it, and by doing that, he will be able to start getting resources for us. So basically, we're going to get mushrooms. Mushrooms are going to be used to train our squads and eventually create more and more units. It's a very RTS element to this game. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Trist, which was that kind of half-baked real-time strategy game I played a little bit earlier. Well, I guess it was last year at this point, but it was later in last year. So we're just going to have him work there, and then we're going to try to build a nursery And we need to kind of rotate it to have at least an entrance available somewhere. So let's just put it over here. This is fine. And our worker will then, our last remaining worker will go build this nursery. Then we'll have him work there to start building a squad. Now, this is our main character here, if I just zoom in on him. This is Bale. He's going to be like our squad leader, basically, and he's got some special abilities that we'll talk about soon. But this is a very slow game. Prepare for us to spend a lot of our time waiting. And that's a very frustrating element of the game for me so far. Alright, so they're teaching us about deck points right now. I'll just explain what's going on with deck points, because otherwise this guy's going to talk incessantly. Basically, when we accomplish useful things, we get deck points, and we can use these to kind of unlock a tech tree that will help us out. So why don't we unlock the Scout class, and we'll also get extra materials here every time a trap expires, because that's all we can do with that right now. Anyway, alright, so we're gonna have... We already have a guy working this? No, we don't. Where's our other worker? Oh, our other worker is gathering materials. That's fine. So we'll summon a worker. Bale is capable of summoning workers, as well as casting some spells in his own right. But then we'll have this worker work in the nursery. A room needs to be worked by a worker in order to be effective. So now that that's being worked, we can create our first squad. So let's create a couple of berserkers and a couple of scouts, because we do have the food. Notice the mushroom icon in the top right is going to diminish a little bit every time we build one of these things. Actually, I think this thing requires... Yeah, this thing requires materials. Anyway, so as these get built, they will fill this out. I wish that objective would get off my screen first. There we go. So we can put our units into squads, and then we can use these squads for combat. So we're going to start out very small here. These missions are quite long, so don't be surprised if this is a long video, assuming I don't rage quit first. So let's create another worker. We create workers, by the way, using mana, which is up here. Each worker is 75. Then we're going to have this worker construct a hallway. So you construct a variety of different units down here, or different structures down here. And by constructing this hallway, if I just click, that should start. He is going to tunnel into this area with these skeletons. I'm just going to teleport my first squad over here to be able to deal with these skeletons, and then we'll have this room open to us. So basically the first thing we're going to do is just expand into all of these rooms, and eventually we're going to expand outwards and try to accomplish our final objective. I would not be surprised if we failed this mission, though, as I have failed it many a time before. So let's teleport our squad up here. We'll start effing with these skeletons. And I think this game has a real interface problem. What's wrong with this scout? Scout, get up, man! I think it's really difficult sometimes to tell who your units are and who the enemy units are, because everything, even up close, everything looks really similar and gets kind of hit by this green outline. But anyway, we're going to have this room be repaired now by our worker. Let's teleport squad 1 back here. And pretty soon, once we get more points, I think. Yeah, well, sorry, once we get more treasure, and I'll talk about treasure in a minute, we can get more squads. Right now, we can have more units, but there's not too much point to it. Yes, I know. Thank you, Von Fairweather. We're just going to create a few more units here. Basically, these guys are going to be backups, because I expect my existing units will probably die. This game is fairly difficult, despite the fact that I'm playing it on the normal mode right now. So how is our squad doing in terms of health right now? Pretty okay for the most part. Let's just swap this dude out and swap this guy in instead, because he's a little bit better on health. And then we will have this jail. Yeah, we can have it be worked. Let's have Bale build another worker. So we're basically just establishing our main infrastructure right now. And then we'll construct another hallway. And we'll construct this hallway this time up to this area right here, which will allow us to use this forge, which will give us traps. Again, prepare for a little bit of a laborious process here. I don't mind that the game is slow necessarily. I think that's one of the things that makes this game probably appealing to a certain demographic of gamer. You know, if you're into that kind of like old school management type sim, not in like a roller coaster tycoon kind of way, but in perhaps a dungeon keeper style, this pace of the game is probably not going to bother you too much, but things do seem to take an awful long time to get going. Again, we are only on the second mission, but I played this game collectively. I played this file for 2 hours. I played the game in total for 3 hours if you count the like hour briefing with the devs I had at PDXCon. I'm not trying to shit on the devs or anything. We're just going to send our squad number 1 over here to start attacking these dudes. And in kind of like a Warlock Master of the Arcane style, I can, if I could actually find these guys, hey, attack. If I could find these guys and click on them, I could summon a lightning bolt using some of Bale's mana to do a little bit more damage to them. By killing these champions, usually by killing enemies, you actually do gain the ability to summon them in the nursery. Yes, he says we can summon it right away. Beautiful. We did lose a squad member, so we'll try to replenish that. It's pretty important to keep your squad as buffed out as possible. your squads, I guess I should say, because otherwise things are going to get really bad really fast. Because this game can pick up in difficulty. Oh, there's heroes in the dungeon, I think. So we will want to teleport squad number 1 over here to deal with these heroes, which are a serious pain in the ass. So this is the management that you have to deal with in the game. You're going to have assholes coming in constantly, and you have to shut them down while still expanding out at the same time. It's kind of cool how the game forces you to manage priorities like this. At the same time, things can get real bad if you mismanage your squad. Excuse me. The game can get real bad real quick if you mismanage your squad. And thus end up in a situation where heroes ravage your dungeon. Because what I've had happen so many times is I have a squad that goes out and they're like fighting enemies, and then many of them get killed, and then immediately my dungeon gets raided by heroes, and then heroes destroy my infrastructure by destroying like this mushroom room here, and then I can't get any more mushrooms to spawn new units, and then they just tear through my entire dungeon, and it takes me like 20 minutes to get it back up and running. That is how I spent probably 50% of my time with this game so far, and it is incredibly frustrating. So, I mean, we're going to send a worker over here to work this, and then we can start building some traps if we want to, like this stinky puddle, or, you know, this acid pool, and we can put these traps around our dungeon, and they're fairly useful. They do cost a lot of resources, though. What are we going to do next? We should probably just tunnel into this room. Is there treasure in here? There is treasure in here. So getting treasure is going to allow us to unlock our second squad, which is why that is important right now, because we definitely do not have enough squads or units in general to be able to easily make progress on this level right now. So I think what we're going to do is build a hallway from here to here. And when that's done, we'll teleport our squad up there. And by teleporting our squad up there... Oh, we're getting some weird frame issues. This is not the first time this has happened with this game, but it is always frustrating. I've had 2 freezes with this game so far, and I'm playing it on a very beefy machine, so I'm not sure what's up with that. Maybe it's just driver incompatibility. It wouldn't be the first game that I've had driver incompatibility with, but we'll just wait here for a second to see if the game is going to come back for us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Look at Empire. Sadly, the game did crash, which I wish I could report that was the first time that that's happened, but it's sadly not. I'm hoping that the game auto-saved. It actually crashed on me a little bit earlier. I don't want to... This does not look like the mission that I'm on. Let me try this again. Proceed this way. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is not the first time that it's crashed on me, unfortunately. I think we're probably going to launch in the middle of in the start of this mission, which is terrible. In which case, I will just start a new campaign instead. Yes, indeed, we are going to start at the very beginning of this mission, so I'm going to back off. We're going to check out the tutorial mission instead, which, you know, to be quite frank with you, it'll still give you a pretty good idea on the game, or what the game's about. And it should move a little bit more briskly as well. Unfortunately, it's not going to show off some of the stuff that we learned, but it will show off the general nature of the game. It's quite a long tutorial. In fact, when we played this at PDXCon, probably about half of the people in our group that played it for an hour was unable to beat the tutorial in the first hour. But hopefully we don't get a crash here. I have found the game a little bit unstable, but of course, you know, in full disclosure, this may just be my, you know, my driver setup or something. But, you know, I have had situations with this game not recording with Fraps where it is messed up as well. So I'm just going to skip over all this tutorial stuff because I've already done this mission. So, it might be a little bit slow sometimes. I guess I have to repair this room. And we will watch our unit repair it, and then we will continue going on here. There's a lot of good ideas with Empire. It's unfortunate that I haven't really been able to show them off so far. I think the game suffers from a lot of issues as well. It over-tutorializes or goes through way too much exposition, and sometimes I think it's a little too proud of the cleverness of its scripting and voice acting. Yes, I know. We're going to summon another worker, or... call this guy to actually work in the mushroom room here. Do we have a second worker? I can't remember. Anyway, they're just going through the animations of showing what this guy's doing. It also suffers from a little bit of an interface problem. There's so many options, and I don't think it accurately, or adequately is maybe a better way to put it, explains what each one of these is about. This is a game that definitely, you know, it expects the user to put in some self-learning, and that's totally okay. I mean, you know, there's lots of games I love that do that, like Dark Souls, for example. In my first few hours with the game so far, I don't necessarily think the payoff is large enough to possibly compensate for that, if that makes sense. So again, we're going to send a worker here to repair this stock room. We kind of already went over this in the second mission that we were doing, but Alas, we'll do it again here. I do like the animation that the guys make when they like move their hips and swivel around to fix things, Elvis Presley style. Basically, this is perhaps tutorializing things better than I did. This guy gets the mushrooms. This guy carries the mushrooms into the stock room, where we can then use them to create units for us. Okay, so now we're learning how to use the lightning bolt, which I will just cast down upon this guy. He will die, and we will be able to move on a little bit here. So we're going to build a nursery, and we're basically emulating exactly what we did at the very beginning of the last mission. Just by using right click, we can rotate this into the jigsaw puzzle piece orientation that makes it effective, and we should have one unit come over here and just start bashing out these walls. Then he'll put some TNT in there and watch it happen. When you get later into the game, at least on the second mission, not that I'm super late into the game, but when you get later into the game, you don't have to watch all this stuff happen. You can, like, it's not lampshaded, I should say. You can just go do other stuff while everything's being built. It's much more of an RTS style. But at the very least, you know, 20 minutes into this video, we might be able to see some combat, which is ostensibly the focus. I understand that we will need to summon a worker here, and then work this room. It's a little bit, I mean, I've been a little bit unfair with respect to the game's tutorialization. It's not necessarily inadequate. It's not bad. It's just, I don't know if it does enough to teach you. It teaches you the tools. It doesn't teach you how to use them is maybe the best way to put it. Because right now I'm changing my tune because this is feeling a little bit laborious. But anyway, we're going to create some berserkers here, and by creating 4 of these, there's an easier way to create these guys, by the way. But we'll create 4 of these, and then we will put them in a squad as well, because having them in a squad allows us to basically assign them to control groups. Like we have hotkeys, like just by hitting 1 on the number pad or 1 on the number section, number row, I guess, I can control all of these units at will. Alright, so they want me to spawn 1 more unit. Actually, I guess I've already accomplished that. Never mind. Please let me just continue doing what I'm doing here. Okay, so now we're gonna dig a hallway. This is the demo that we were playing at PDXCon, by the way. So I'm just gonna take squad number 1 and I'm gonna kind of move them over here. Everyone moves pretty darn slowly. We can use a click drag as well to control units. This is where the RTS elements definitely come in, because there should be minions somewhere around here that we are going to have to deal with. Luckily, the tutorial is pretty representative of the final game. I just really hope we don't get a crash here. And we are learning now that Bale, or Ball, I called him Bale in Diablo, man, so it's hard for me to get used to calling him Ball. But the only reason I called him Bale is because I think I grew up right next to a farm, if that makes any sense at all. So by opening this gate, now we can move along. Is that? Oh, it's an enemy scout. Okay, so now we're finally getting into a little bit of extra combat here that we can see up close. So we're just going to group up on this guy and murder him. Murdering enemies gives us experience for our squad, which allows them to get perks eventually. And it also gives us new units that we can summon from the nursery, which is awesome as well. Anyway, let's just take Bale here. They want us to create a squad member from the nursery immediately. Whatever, we'll just create him. We don't really need him right now. And then we'll have Bale open up this gate, or Ball open up this gate, so we can continue moving onwards. And I believe there is a boss fight to end this, and it's a very frustrating boss fight. This is going to be another unit for us. A priest is going to be like a caster class, almost an intelligence class if we're talking about it from a Dota context. And we're going to be able to create 1 more of those guys as well. But let's take Ball for now and have him open this gate if we can. Or are we gated from doing that right now? That's a very good question. Well, we might as well go summon. There's multiple ways to summon a unit. You could do the thing that I've been doing from the nursery, or you can just do it this way and summon more units like that. Now, we should have heroes invading our dungeon soon, so I'm creating kind of a defensive force to take care of them. So we do have to get this treasure in here. First, we're going to have to fight these dudes, obviously. So I'm going to strike one of them down with a lightning bolt, more or less. I'm not sure if he just got healed there. I heard some twinkling, and twinkling oftentimes means healing. Is that what's going on here? No, it's just the twinkling of the... Oh, no, he's been healed. I think the priests do heal. So let's send all of our dudes in here. And we can micromanage a little bit. This game is very micromanage heavy, which I think is possibly going to be disappointing to some people. Just do some attacking. I really hate how difficult it is to tell what the F is going on sometimes. And most of the time, I just let my units auto-attack, because even if you get in really close, it's very difficult to tell, you know, who's on your side and who's on the enemy side, due to the fact that all of the enemies look very similar, at least early on in the game. Alright, so we got treasure. It goes to our treasure pit, and it gave us a teleport spell, which allows us to teleport. We've already seen that in action, but that's okay. So they want us to demonstrate that we know how to use teleport, so we'll just right-click here. The context menu, which you open in areas by right-clicking, is very useful. You can do it with Ball, too. There we go. And now they want us to unlock a second squad. Apologies if I'm speeding through this a little bit. Keep in mind that I have done this. This will be my 3rd time playing through the tutorial. So, I'm just going to continue here. Excellent. Okay, they basically said, like, we have a treasure pit room. If the treasure pit is destroyed by heroes, which will invade... Oh, there we go. Heroes that are coming right now. They should be coming out through here, I believe. So let's teleport our squads over there to deal with them. The teleportation ability is both useful and sometimes infuriating. Are heroes here yet? I think they're about to come out. Did I kill them? Oh no, they're coming in right now. Okay, so let's click and drag, get everybody over here. This happens a lot. I find myself obscured by kind of what's going on in the environment. There we go. And I can't really tell what's going on here, but that's okay, because I'm pretty sure we're just going to absolutely destroy these guys. Like so. Excellent. And they made a dated early 90s hip-hop reference there. Let me replenish our squads, because we are, yep, pretty low right here. I guess that's the exact objective the game is telling me to do. What can I say? Great minds think alike. So we'll just create some berserkers. You want to create a variety of units. It does matter. You can't like Zerg rush people as far as I know so far. It hasn't been successful for me. Alright, so now we are going to have to use a gateway. But we're going to wait for all of our units to be spawned first. I mean, I feel like you can tell just by the tone of my voice right now. But a lot of my time with this game has kind of been spent being a little bit bored. I hate to say it. But I mean, part of it is that I'm doing this for, again, the 3rd time. But at the same time, I don't know, even when I played it for the first time, I was just like, okay, get on with it a little bit. Like, I understand the basic mechanics. Let me kind of play around in the sandbox that you've created for me. It's not really a sandbox game, but at the same time, it's a little bit too guided. Oh, we should probably get... If Bale, or Ball, I'm just going to say Bale, whatever, man. If he dies, it's not the end of the world for us. He just respawns eventually anyway. I think he has died. Yeah. But he'll respawn again. And we can just teleport him back into the fray, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Which berserkers are mine and which ones are the enemies, I got no effing idea, man. I just let these little minions do what they do. We are going to see a cool mechanic very, very soon, I believe. Yes, we have to get a password to open this door, somewhat arbitrarily, but in any case, let's just make sure our squad is full here. They are full. No, they are not full. Well, we can just send squad 2, that's okay. First things first, let's create another scout, and then we'll open our world map. And this is what's kind of cool, is we can send our squads out on raids. So I'm looking for this right here, I think. Yeah, Malin Stables. And I can choose to send a squad here. Like, I can send squad 2 over here. So if you have extra squads, you can send them out to do missions for you. And as you can see, you know, you can get 50 materials. You can get some treasure. There's mushroom ones as well. Oh, yeah, there's a couple of mushroom ones here in case you want food to spawn more units. So if you're ever low on resources, you can send squads out to accomplish secondary objectives for you. And that's kind of cool. But again, everything moves pretty slowly. Another point of praise I have for the game is that I like how you can just mouse over your units and get a really close in view of what's going on, like a picture-in-picture. I haven't really found it that practical, but I do think it's a positive presentation element. This is probably the slowest part of the entire game, by the way. Prepare to just watch this squad laboriously walk from point A to point B on its way to point C, where we will, of course, watch them do a little bit more walking. But this is the tutorial, so I can give the game a little bit of leeway in that respect. But the slow pace is definitely a characteristic element. So now going back to the world map, we can watch number 2 here. My favorite squad at this point make their way up to Malin Stables. Eventually, traversing the mountains, you know, Mines of Moria. They fight the Balrog, the priest gets killed, and eventually comes back as Impire the White. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. It's been so long since I've seen any of the Lord of the Rings films. Please, take your time. And then the game will, I believe, hijack our perspective here and show us what happens when an enemy, or when our squad goes on a raid. So it has arrived, finally. And we're just going to watch it basically auto-attack this stable manager. It may actually kill a couple of our imps, because humans are much stronger than imps in this game. Or goblins, or, you know, whatever you'd like to call them. The game is called Empire. Alright, so the squad leveled up, and we got the password. But I think now we have to watch them actually come back. Which is fun, right? Spend as much time watching in this game as you do actually kind of strategizing or impact, or having your decisions actually, you know, play out. If that makes any sense at all, it might not actually. And again, I know there's a certain demographic out there that is actually cool with that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But what I will say is that it's kind of annoying for me. I want to be doing things more often. If I'm going to be micromanaging constantly, I don't want to micromanage and wait. I want to just be doing it constantly. So, now that Squad 2 has finally arrived back, we can go back to management mode here. They will, again, proceed inwards. Now we've got the diary and we can see the password. The password will allow us to open the gate. And we do have to teleport our units around to the kitchen. This is kind of another weird micromanaging aspect of it that I don't really like all that much, but I think what we're supposed to do right here is build a kitchen, rotate it into a position where it can actually be built. So we should probably spawn another worker just to make things go a little bit faster here, because we have mana that we're not doing anything with since we're not summoning lightning bolts to hit anybody. And as this kitchen gets built, every once in a while your units are going to get a little bit hungry, and we're just going to use that, the teleport ability to teleport them into the kitchen, and then in the kitchen, they will eat and they will not be demoralized anymore, which will make them more effective fighters. Oh, we got heroes coming, so what we should do is teleport our first squad over there. We could teleport Ball over there as well, but there's really no point. So we'll just wait for these guys to kill some of our units, and then we'll replenish our squads as is necessary. And we definitely need at least 2 more guys. 2 more scouts, it looks like. Let's create some more scouts. We got plenty of resources. Are we missing another one now? No, we're still doing okay. These guys should be dead any second now. Is that it? I do believe that is it. So let's replenish our squads. Like so. Oh, we had units anyway. I just couldn't see them because of the tutorial thing in the way here. And then we're going to teleport our squads, which are now full, to the kitchen. Like so. Oh, wait a second. And then click drag, and then kind of direct them to the kitchen. And once they get into the kitchen, they should eat and, you know, be happier, basically. I think it was Squad 2 that had the demoralized units, so by putting everybody in here, everybody's going to eat a little bit, and that should be, I believe, enough. Unless I have to do something with them here, like change what they do. No kitchen available. Send the units... Oh, I probably have to have a worker working the kitchen. No worker available. Okay, so we'll have this happen. Again, this kind of plays into my point of I don't really understand how the game tutorializes so much, and yet still sometimes puts myself in a position where I have to experiment like that. Or I just did that, kind of. Hopefully this is good enough, because I have my units in here. I find it difficult to tell which unit is demoralized, but maybe that's like one of these yellow meters here. I can't really tell. Do we have units eating yet? I don't think we do. Let's do this. Okay. So hopefully the demoralized unit was one of those units that I managed to click on there. Otherwise, we might have to wait a little bit longer. Like so. Okay, there we go. Objective complete. Beautiful, and it's rotated our perspective, I think, for reasons that are unbeknownst to me. So they want us to perform a raid on the world map here. At the Barbarian, not Barbarian, I made that mistake. The Barbarian, am I still flipped around here? I can't tell, yeah, I think I am. I like to keep my perspective standard, you know, so I understand what's going on. But there's a Barbarian, or Barbarian, ballet encampment. And I guess that's that over here. Let's send Squad 2 again to deal with that. And again, you know, using the power of editing, I may fast forward here, although I kind of want to give you guys a feel for a lot of my Empire experience so far, which is me standing around. Oh, do we have the password? If so, I'll just skip over that side quest. Okay, yes, we do. So let's instead just teleport over here, because we're about to get into the boss fight. So Squad 2, Squad 1, and Ball as well. So we're just going to skip over that side quest, because I don't think it's all that important for now. I'm just going to move Ball kind of... you know, it doesn't matter. We can keep him at the front lines. It's all good. Now, we're just going to go and get ready to fight this boss, essentially. So let's move our guys onwards. We're going to have to fight some dudes in here. I'm going to use my lightning bolts to do a lot of damage to them, just to swing the things entirely in our favor. There is, you know, there's a much wider scoped game here than I'm demonstrating, but unfortunately technical difficulties have kind of precluded me from showing that, as well as the fact that the game's slow pace has made it so that in 2 hours of play I've only made it onto the second mission. That might be a personal failing with respect to how I've been handling the game so far from a strategic level. But certainly, I don't feel my criticisms are invalid here by any stretch of the imagination. Even people who like this game that I've been talking to on Twitter admit that it has fairly substantial problems that likely need to be patched out. It doesn't necessarily feel like it's unfinished, but it does feel a little bit untested, if that makes sense. It feels like almost like this is the result, and I probably shouldn't even be speculating on this, but this is the result of like very inclusive testing where the game was showed primarily to people who are already into this kind of game. There's nothing wrong with niche games, by the way, but in terms of accessibility, that's maybe the major complaint that I have right now. So we're going to send Bale over here. He should walk into this gateway, and by having him walk into the gateway, I think that'll teleport us into the boss. Alright, it'll open the gate. Alright, so now we're going to be dealing with the boss, which means we are almost done here. I'll spoil things for you a little bit. There is a special... I wonder if I can lightning bolt food. I can't. Okay, so there is a special thing to do here. Basically, this boss, Guardian, will eat food. And if he eats food, then he regains all of his health. So not just, you know, right-clicking on him. We actually have to teleport our squads into areas like this to destroy the food before he can actually eat it. Sometimes the squads choose not to do this, which can be very frustrating, because it allows him to regenerate full health. Basically, if he finishes eating his food, he will get back to full health. So even if you are consistently good at it, you have to be basically perfect, or you're going to have a bad time. But as long as you teleport your squads effectively, this is fairly easy. I guarantee that, you know, the first few times you actually do this, you are probably going to F it up at least once or twice. I know I did, despite actually knowing how things are supposed to go. He's going to die, though. That was a fairly easy boss fight, and that is going to do it for both this mission and the Let's Look At in general, I guess. In any case, I'm just going to skip over the dialogue again, because most of the time I find it cloying and kind of annoying. And that is going to do it for my Let's Look At of Empire. This is now available on Steam for 15 bucks. I don't think it's necessarily worth that, unless you are, you know, very curious about seeing how this iterates on the Dungeon Keeper formula. If you're a Dungeon Keeper diehard, I'm going to put myself on the line here and basically say you should probably go and look at another review of someone who is a little bit more in tune with that scene. I was like 2 when Dungeon Keeper came out, so forgive me for not being 100% familiar with it. But I will say, from the perspective of somebody who's not really into this genre, I don't think Empire necessarily does a great job of introducing it. But in any case, thank you guys for watching and tolerating my sick voice. As always, I will see you next time.